Inmate seeks attorney. Looking for a prosperous challenge? Ready for your close-up on national television? Qualifications must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, client inclusion at all times, team orientation, collaboration, extreme efficiency in listening. She should get some of that. Dedication to success, possessing a winning mindset. Hey, Sarah, we're going to win this case all the way. You're not going to win this case no matter who. I don't care who you get. Capability of excellence in representation, committed, maintaining faith in the client and faith in the client. Are you serious, Sarah? Come on. Overcome all circumstances. Epic opportunity awaits. Contact Sarah Boone, inmate number 205623. Invest in the oppressed. Believe. Oh my God, she should have been in marketing.
So you don't want to do it?
Should I send her a little letter saying I'll take on her case? No thanks. I can think of a better way. I think I'd rather chew on a curb.
She doesn't trust me. She calls me a dud, I think, a buffoon, on and on and on and on. And no one should have to endure that type of derogatory comments and expect to effectively represent someone.
It is a challenge for the court when you have a pro se defendant because they don't know the rules and they don't observe the rules. Okay, you know what? If you're on your 8th girlfriend, problem is probably with you, right? How do you go through 8 lawyers? There's got to be somebody that's good enough for you, right? And she decided to put her boyfriend in a suitcase, playing hide and seek. In other words, I'm going to hide you. You can seek for oxygen, okay? Give me a break, honestly.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's going to react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you live. Well, not live. This is recorded. But with our content genius behind the camera, behind the microphone, in front of the camera. How do you do that? How do you do that, Michael? Michael Rivers. He's our content genius. Say hello, Michael Rivers.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're reacting at his insistence to the revelation that Sarah Boone is going to represent herself. You remember Sarah Boone? We'll tell you a little bit more about her in a second. But today, this episode, oddly enough, is brought to you by eForms.com. eForms.com is a very effective way to get a legal form that you need for any kind of purpose. So if you need a bill of sale, you need a power of attorney, you need medical power of attorney, you need an eviction notice, you need a rental agreement, whatever you need for your grandma in the basement, or if you're Sarah Boone who's in the Who Scout trying to represent herself. Any kind of legal form that you need will help you 2 things. 1, avoid the high cost of a lawyer. And number 2, it'll help you avoid the courtroom. Because if you got it in writing, guess what? They're not going to show up. You got them. So eForms.com, very effective way to protect yourself and to avoid the high cost of a lawyer. Okay, so today we're reacting to Sarah Boone. You know that Sarah Boone's been through lawyer after 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 lawyer. And these kind of people are the biggest pain in the ass for the court. The court, what did the court finally say? The court finally said, oh, too bad. You don't get another lawyer. You don't want that lawyer? You can represent yourself.
She sent another letter to the judge.
All right, so we're reacting to Sarah Boone. Now, if you remember Sarah Boone had a little too much wine one night, and she decided to put her boyfriend in a suitcase, playing hide and seek. In other words, I'm going to hide you. You can seek for oxygen, okay? Give me a fucking break, honestly. And we'll play a little bit.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
If he wouldn't have died, it would be funnier than hell. How do you get somebody into a fucking suitcase?
Oh.
Sarah, oh, I can't breathe. And then she's drunk. And if you remember what happened with Sarah Boone, they had her phone, and this is all recorded. She recorded this. I don't know if she did it on purpose. She certainly didn't remember that she recorded. And this is played to her during her interview with cops. And she called the cops because he was dead. And I don't think she really remembered. But she's shit-faced. And he's trying to get out of the suitcase. And he's trying to tell her, hey, let me out, let me out. And she tells him, you know, in large measure, you know, this is getting you back,
For everything you've done to me.
basically. Which really amounts to murder one. Because she's so callous. She's so indifferent. And she's like, you know, it's going to suck to be you, basically. And anyway, so she's on the hook for this murder of her boyfriend. Now, she has gone through lawyer after lawyer. The court has, you know, you have the Sixth Amendment right to counsel, right? Of course you do. You have the right to counsel. You have the right to effective representation at court. You don't have the right to any lawyer or the lawyer of your choosing. If you are a public defender eligible client or defendant, you don't have the right to have any lawyer. The court just has to appoint a lawyer. I can't believe they have gone through 8 lawyers. I can understand not being real happy with a public defender. I mean, public defenders are by and large pretty good lawyers. First of all, they're committed. Second of all, they're in court every day, all day, and they know the judges and the prosecutor and the system. And when you get a homicide, they assign the best public defenders, and they drop everything and they just focus on the homicide. But here's the other part of it. You don't have the right, as a defendant, to dictate the strategy of a lawyer. There's 2 things that a defendant is entitled to dictate. One, whether they're going to settle the case or not. Going to trial is solely the defendant's decision, period. End of story. And whether or not the person will testify. That is totally within their belly. But the decision to call a certain witness, to put forth a certain defense, to do this or that, the strategy at trial, that's the lawyer's call. Generally speaking, I like to have my client on board with what we're doing, and 99.99% of the time the client is on board because it makes sense what we're trying to do. But sometimes you differ with the client, and sometimes the client wants to do all kinds of stupid shit that just doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, when you're Daryl Brooks or what's her name, Sarah Osborne,
Sarah Boone.
I want to say Sarah Osborne. I don't know why I said that. But when you're whether you're one of those, courts don't like that. You know, I mean, they're a pain in the ass. But you have to be careful. You have to protect the record because, you know, you do have these constitutional rights and they have to be observed. So let's just take a look at some of the coverage.
To be representing herself at trial. There was a last-minute hearing on Friday, and the judge in that case said 8 is enough, granting Boone's former attorney's motion to withdraw and ruling that the defendant has now, on her 8th lost attorney, forfeited her right to counsel because of her ongoing difficulties with all of those other counsel.
Okay, why don't you explain this to me? How the fuck did it get to 8? I mean, I think it maybe 6 or 7 or maybe even 5. I'm telling you, if I was a judge, I'd give her 3 chances. I'm a third lawyer, you know, I'm saying, okay, at some point, it's got to be you. Right, Sarah? Sarah, don't you think it's you, honestly? Maybe you need to go into a suitcase. But, and here's generally what they do. They'll have standby counsel. You know, that's not really responsible for the case, but just advises her. Because guess what? When she gets into court and she's representing herself, all the rules of criminal procedure apply just as if she's represented by counsel.
Telling the court why she thinks that things could be going better, saying, quote, she was doing her best.
And I feel that she is untruthful with me and full-blown prejudice against me, which I believe adds to her nasty attitude towards me. And
Nasty attitude. Oh, who's got the fucking nasty attitude?
I don't trust her. So I have prepared this for you. It's a letter and then a continuation of the letter from the video visit, so you are aware of. And
all the judge had to hear was, I have a letter for you, to go, oh, fuck. Oh, I gotta read this.
everyone constantly blames me that I am the reason why I am supposedly on attorney number 8, which I am not the reason for any of them.
Okay. You know what? If you're on your 8th girlfriend, problem is probably with you, right? I mean, how do you go through 8 fucking lawyers? I mean, there's got to be somebody that's good enough for you, right? I mean, and they're probably not all public defenders. They're probably all conflicts lawyers because at some point, the public defender's office is saying, we wash our hands of her, and we can't do it anymore because now there's a conflict.
I put this in here also so you are aware. I refuse to be mistreated by her as my attorney. I'm shocked that she has a proposed trial date considering the fact that I have not seen anything. I keep asking her for just a download of my phone or my medical records.
That's just bullshit. That's just absolute nonsense. She has seen everything on the file. I guarantee you she's seen everything, especially after the 8th lawyer. She is just so nasty to me, and she's just so... What did she say? She's just... the thing about it is, she's trying to avoid the inevitable. And she doesn't understand that the lawyer is not going to just do anything you ask. I mean, you can't just, I want this witness, I want that witness. Okay, what is that witness is going to testify? Well, I'm not sure, but, then we're not going to call that witness. Or I want this brought out in trial. How does that relate to what we're doing? Well, and then you get a long explanation that's just a bunch of gobbledygook, and it doesn't make any sense at all. So that's what you're dealing with Miss Boone.
That I asked pretty much all of the other attorneys as well. All of my questions that I keep asking her are in the letter to you. I didn't know if you would be the one to help me answer them or to...
See, some of the things she was asking is like, why am I denied bail? That ship has sailed a long time ago, lady. You're in custody. See you later. We're not going to ask for bail again. You've already had that opportunity. Once the judge sets bail, it ain't going to get changed unless there's a change in circumstances.
I just want to let you know these dates. So on September 29th, 2024, she'll have a trial management conference, and then the trial is currently scheduled to begin in October.
What was the date of the offense, do you know?
Oh, God, it was...
She's been in jail for over a year. So she's got a trial management conference in September.
February 2020 death.
February 2020?
Yeah, 4 years.
Has she been in jail for 4 years?
Yep, over 4 years.
So she's been in jail since February 2020. That's insane. But she's caused this delay. You think, maybe there's a speedy trial violation here. No. Not when you're on your 9th lawyer.
For her to finally answer them to me and hopefully truthfully, I don't know. As I've said to you before in the past, you said that you are not able to intervene regarding my letters. I still want you to be aware of what it is that I am going through still. And it's a matter of ethics and professionalism with how she should be treating me. I shouldn't have to come up with a pre-planned judge in order for her to do so. And also
one of the things at her last hearing, she tells the judge, the judge says, well, okay, tell me what hasn't she done? And she goes into a long list of things that just aren't anything a lawyer's supposed to do. And talks about bail and some other things, but she never really talks about what the lawyer did or didn't.
Other things that I've been working on in the meantime that I would like everyone else to be made aware of. That I don't just sit and eat bonbons and watch soap operas all day. I fully apply myself at all times.
The court knows I've spent probably 20 hours, a little bit more, a little bit less, with Miss Boone. She has lots of lists, lots of questions. In reviewing the court file, she was distressed previously about having access to her lawyers. I have taken collect phone calls from her.
So her lawyer last week filed a motion to withdraw. Sometimes it just gets so bad, there's nothing you can do. They don't listen to anything you have to say. And one would argue, maybe she's incompetent. She's not incompetent at all. She's just a terrible person. One of the things that you deal with in the case where somebody's acting pro se is, you don't have to testify. This is kind of I've always thought this was a fascinating part because you can't be compelled to testify, but you get to give a closing argument. You know what I mean? So think about that. I mean, that concept is really fascinating when you think about it, because you can't be cross-examined on your closing argument. So you can argue the facts, and it's coming from you, but it ain't testimony. So it's not evidence, honestly. It's just argument in the case. But I don't think juries see it that way. And if you remember, either Daryl Brooks or that other dude, who killed his wife and child and burned him in a house, and he just went nuts, and during his closing argument, and the judge told him to settle the fuck down. So it is a challenge for the court when you have a pro se defendant, because they don't know the rules and they don't observe the rules. I mean, look at all the crap that Daryl Brooks went through. Remember, I mean, they had to put him in another room so they could turn his shit off. And then you've got the issue then. So now you have her going through 8 lawyers, right? And then you have a court saying, now you have forfeited your right to counsel. That's a good legal issue for appeal. It just is. It's a solid issue. However, the court has the duty to appoint counsel. But at some point, I think she does forfeit her right if she just keeps going through lawyer after lawyer. The court can't be expected to do that. So let's just take a look at a couple pro se defendants. This is actually kind of interesting.
If you're going to force me to go to close, I mean, again, it's a mistrial.
Excuse me, sir?
It would be a mistrial, Your Honor. You're not allowing me to provide a defense.
Sir, you can state and twist and spin whatever you'd like to.
See how anxious the court gets when you deal with the pro se?
I think that the jury is going to be able to come anywhere close to a verdict of beyond reasonable doubt. I don't see it.
He's playing a fraudulent damn recording of me beating Kenyatta Barron 15.
If anybody didn't think that guy was violent until he did his closing argument sealed deal for the state. Fuck.
Damn time when that did not happen.
And how is he allowed to walk in the well of the court like that? Honestly, this is a dangerous dude. This guy killed his wife and child, a 3-year-old, and burned them to death. And watch him here.
And like I told you earlier, you will know the truth, whether in this trial or the next.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So I think, Your Honor, with all due...
These are such a challenge for the judge and the court. I mean, everybody involved. I mean, it's comical to watch, to be honest with you. It's actually fun to watch, just because it's such a fucking train wreck.
Respect, I think you should show some respect.
Do not interrupt, Attorney Opper.
Your Honor, I believe he has 7 prior criminal convictions. OWI 2nd from 1997 and OWI 3rd from 1997.
If you got 7 prior DWIs or OWIs, it's Wisconsin, operating while intoxicated. You probably either should stop drinking or stop driving. Do one of the two.
And OWI 4th.
And look at him mean mugging the court. I mean, tell me a deputy shouldn't just be right behind. Well, there is a deputy right behind him.
From 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
Right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
Judge shouldn't say it makes me scared, because that makes the judge look weak. But look at how nuts he looks. And he wasn't nuts at all. He just was playing games. Most of these pro se defendants are just playing games.
It's accused suitcase killer Sarah Boone sends judge job ad for new lawyer.
Job ad for a new lawyer.
Yeah.
So let's just get an update on Sarah Boone.
Withdraw from her last attorney is now leaving Boone scrambling to find someone to represent her before she has to represent herself. But now she's taking matters into her own hands by crafting essentially a help-wanted ad that she hopes will generate the attention to any attorney.
So look at that ad. Inmate seeks attorney looking for a prosperous challenge. Hang on, let me just... Inmate seeks attorney. Looking for a prosperous challenge? Ready for your close-up on national television? Are you as zealous? With a side of keen? Give me a fucking break. Show the world pretty nice ad actually. Show the world who you are with your original creativity, extraordinary expertise, confident ingenuity. Qualifications must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, exceptional problem-solving skills, client inclusion at all times, team orientation, collaboration, extreme efficiency in listening. She should get some of that. Communicating, understanding, dedication to success, possessing a winning mindset. Hey, Sarah, we're going to win this case all the way. You're not going to win this case no matter who. I don't care who you get. Capability of excellence in representation, committed, maintaining faith in the client and faith in the client. Are you serious, Sarah? Come on. Faith in the client and care with the ability to think differently, overcome all circumstances. Epic opportunity awaits. Contact Sarah Boone, inmate number 205623, Orange County Corrections Department. Invest in the oppressed. Believe. Oh my God, she should have been in marketing.
So you don't want to do it?
Should I send her a little letter saying I'll take on her case? No thanks. I can think of a better way. I think I'd rather chew on a curb.
Looking to represent her in her upcoming trial. The handwritten ad was included in a 6-page letter to Judge Michael Kranick dated on July 8th. In the letter, like many others written before it, Boone writes to the judge asking for what she believes she'll need for her trial. On the first page of the letter, Boone writes in part, "Where's my discovery? I'm still waiting for you to provide me with the contents of what former attorney Cashman supplied to you in the court at the surprise status hearing held in secret on June 28th. Your designated
my guess is that she's already received her discovery, probably multiple times, and she's probably saying there's shit missing, which is just nonsense.
Designated clock of unfair judgment ticks empty and incessantly while waiting for you to deliver. As usual, it's in your favor. In your nonchalant, relaxed, unconcerned attitude of me to receive, you are robbing me of precious, life-saving time to fully and properly defend myself." Cashman, who Boone refers to in her letter, is Patricia Cashman, Boone's 8th court-appointed attorney, who in June requested to be removed from Boone's case, citing irreconcilable differences.
You think?
In the judge's response to Cashman's motion, Judge Kranick wrote, "As of June 26, 2024, this case has been pending 4 years, 3 months, 5 days from the date."
That's ridiculous. Imagine if you're the family member of Jorge. They got to wait around this long for justice when the facts of the case are really clear. All she needs is a lawyer with a winning attitude.
So talk about the conditions in jail versus prison.
So, and think about this. She's 4.5 years into prison into a jail term, and she'll get credit for every day that she spent in jail. But it's worse. Jail is way worse than prison. There's so many more. You can go to class in prison. You get out in the yard. There's so many other things you can do. You can have a job. There's just so many more opportunities in prison than in jail. And sometimes they even lock you down 23-1.
5 days from the date of the filing of the information on March 23rd of 2020. Actions speak louder than words. Although defendant's words seemingly reveal a desire to go to trial, however, as set forth herein, her actions and inability to work with court-appointed counsel are repeated over and over. Boone continues her most recent letter by continuing to beg for the discovery in her case. But she also notes, "I do not have access to a computer to view these materials. I'm doing my very best to figure this and everything else out as I go in my newly unwanted forced position of pro se. Please do not penalize me even greater than being already. I'm trying." Then Boone takes a dig at her former attorney as she writes, "Cashman..."
The thing about it is she's had the discovery. She knows what the deal is. She's talked about this case at length. It's not a complicated case, honestly. We know her boyfriend was in the suitcase. We know she helped him get in the suitcase. And we know she didn't let him out of the suitcase. So what is the case about? It's about her inaction. It's about her deliberate actions of keeping him in the suitcase and her deliberate inaction of letting him out.
I'm glad I could help you shine in the courtroom in front of the judge by you professionally and finally bringing everything I've been asking for since day one, and after I included you on my letter to the judge ensuring return, unlike you who did not include me on your motion to withdraw, surprise, and I had to find out from someone else, an officer, 3 days before the surprise status hearing, so you would even know what to bring. Then Boone's seeming frustration goes towards the judge as she writes, how much real time will I have to prepare and properly, especially the fact that you have me doing everything.
You've had 4 years. You've had 4 years to prepare. Who are you going to call as witnesses? Yourself? You're going to get up on the stand and say, let me out. I mean, what are you going to say to that? You really don't have a defense.
Everything while incarcerated. What happens when more time must be utilized to discover where my lost discovery is? I've been asking for repeatedly. She goes on to write, your time constraints are extreme and unreasonable. Your decision you claim to have considered from your order is illogical and unfair, specifically that it has been malformed by your ignorance, inexperience of my case, misinterpretation, straight lies from the attorneys appointed. They are brazen to stand at your pulpit in your courtroom and commit perjury to your face in the world.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do is antagonize the judge. But that's who she is. And if there's any, and I guarantee you she's talking on that phone. I guarantee you. In 4 years, she's talking like hell on that phone. And one of the things when you're in jail, guess what? Every phone call you make is recorded. And not only that, they'll hand you a CD-ROM, or a DVD or whatever, maybe a thumb drive with all the recordings on it. Then you have to go through all those and say, oh, I said this. Oh, I said that. Oh, shit, I'm fucked because of this, because of that. I had one guy, he was a preacher, and he was accused of shooting his ex-wife's lover. And he gets picked up by the violent crime assessment team, or arrest team, and the morning after the homicide. They pick him up and search him, put him in the back of a squad, bring him down to the homicide unit, they search him again, they interview him. Then they put him back in the squad, bring him over to the jail, and they search him. Oh, when they search him this time, they find a bullet. And here I'm trying to make the case that they planted the bullet there. And I got the jury coming along with me, and because it looked really suspicious, right? They just happened to miss it. So when they find it, the homicide detectives come to the jail, talk to my client. He goes, I don't know nothing about no bullet. What are you talking about? Then later on, he's talking to his cousin Dougie, and he says, of course I knew the bullet was there. I was just being a smartass. And he wasn't talking like a preacher then. He was talking like he was from the street. And that got shoved so far up my ass during trial. And that was after I went down this primrose path. And any credibility I had was destroyed. So when you talk on the phone and you're in jail, be careful what you say because it's a permanent record.
But yet, it's me. By page 4, Boone rants about how she believes the court is sabotaging her and setting her up for failure, as she claims the judge's order.
You set yourself up for failure when you drank a bottle of wine and shoved your boyfriend in a suitcase and then recorded it. If you wouldn't have recorded it, they wouldn't have known what happened.
Judge, the letters that have been coming to your honor, the derogatory berating of my services in this case, I can't effectively represent her.
At some point, you start to hate the fucking client.
Can you start talking about your experience with that?
At some point, you start to hate the client because they're after you and there's nothing you can do. So I can tell you, whenever I have a client that writes a letter to the court, I just shake my head. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it never works. They send a letter to the court just sends the letter over to me, and that's it. But, and usually it's people who are mentally ill, but they're not incompetent. And so they're very, very difficult. And, and the berating, you don't have to take shit from a client as a lawyer. You just don't.
She doesn't trust me. She calls me a a dud, I think, a buffoon, on and on and on and on. And no one should have to endure that type of derogatory comments and expect to effectively represent someone, especially in a murder case.
But one thing I want to caution you about, if this becomes a problem on another court-appointed attorney, I'm going to look more closely at what the alleged disputes are. You have a right to a court-appointed lawyer. There are certain decisions a defendant gets to make in the defense of their case that are absolutely theirs, such as whether they go to trial or not, such as whether they testify or not. But there are many decisions in a case that a lawyer gets to make. And while you certainly have a right to consult with your lawyer and discuss with your lawyer, they don't automatically just do whatever you say.
And they don't automatically do what you just say. And the reason being, you might want to do something, number one, that might hurt your case. Or the defendant might want to do something that's unethical or frivolous. So you got to be careful. And then the lawyer has to protect himself from committing any kind of ethical violations.
You say they use their professional judgment and experience and look at the evidence, look at the law, and do the best they can.
Boone has been behind bars since February of 2020 in connection to the death of her boyfriend, Jorge Torres. Torres was found dead inside a suitcase at the couple's apartment. His final moments were even captured on a video taken by Boone herself, as Torres can be heard asking to be freed from the suitcase while Boone can be heard laughing.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
For everything you've done to me. What does that sound like? Revenge. Revenge. And I'm not going to let you out. And do I know that you're going to die? I don't think she necessarily knows he's going to die, but there's a real deliberation there about letting him out or not letting him out.
The only question I would ask is, do you think that premeditated murder one could apply here?
Oh, yeah, this absolutely. And isn't this murder one case?
I think so. I believe so.
It's domestic, and he's in a suitcase. She's drunk, but guess what? Drunk doesn't cut it. Being intoxicated voluntarily is not a defense.
Could premeditation form the second where he says, I can't breathe, and then she goes...
If she stuck him in that suitcase and she makes a decision to not let him out and she knows he can't breathe, premeditation can form in an instant. And if you were sitting in a suitcase like that or laying down or scrunched up in that suitcase, you don't have mobility and you probably don't have the ability to find the zipper. When you look at Sarah Boone going through 8 lawyers seeking a 9th and then creating a stupid ad and sending that into the court. There might be some lawyers out there who would say, hey, I'll take that case just because it's on national TV. But do you really want to be associated with somebody like that? And all of a sudden you take it last minute and you take it last minute because of the notoriety, right? And then all of a sudden she's going to turn on you and then lodge some ethical obligations. It ain't fucking worth it at all. So you're going to see a Darrell Brooks situation all over again. She probably won't be as mean mugging, and she probably won't be as scary as he was, but she'll be just as disruptive, just as helpless, for lack of a better word, or pretending like she's helpless. And she's going to say, I'm not prepared. I can't do this. I can't, she's had 4 years to prepare, and now she's on her own and it's daunting, but she doesn't have a defense. She just doesn't. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. We're starting a new line of merch. So just keep an eye out for that. You'll be able to order directly from us, so it won't be through a third party or anything like that. So we'll see you next time, Chloe, on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. We'll take a look at the designs. You know, Michael's going to post this here shortly, like a little Blicky Bruce action. So we'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please just let my God.